Hey, welcome to day 2 in the challenge. Today is going to be a lot shorter because I actually didn't take any trades, but I'm going to go over some of the stocks I was looking at and why I didn't trade them, and one stock that I wanted to trade, but I actually fell asleep before I could. And this has been a struggle for me every time I travel because the first few days you arrive in a new location, you can have some pretty major jet lag if the time difference is like 15 hours. Like, I was just trading in Los Angeles before this, where I'm trading at like 6 a.m. in the morning, and now it's at 9 p.m. at night. So my sleeping schedule, my body clock was like really off. And one of my number one rules when trading is to have a healthy state of mind before entering a position. Day trading is like 90% mental energy, and if your mind is not in focus, you definitely cannot enter a position and put money on the table. Anyway, let's jump into it and see what stocks I was looking at. All right, so here we are looking at the Sketches chart, the daily chart here, and you can see it had a huge gap down. This was the opening price here at $29.60. This was actually a 13% gap, and it had some bad earnings, second quarter earnings, and it lowered some guidance today. So some really bad news. So if this gap down, you can kind of see this in hindsight, it actually pushed up, but everyone was looking for a short here. It actually gapped down below this swing low pivot here on the daily chart. And it was pushing up against it here in the pre-market. So we're going to switch over to the 5-minute chart here. So you can see here that in the first 5 minutes, it actually pushed up against that level we were just looking at here, $30, which was the last swing low pivot on the daily chart. And it's starting to reject here. Now what you want to see, if you do want to get short here, you don't want to enter on the first 5 minutes. I very rarely enter on the first 5 minutes because, well, we're going to see in a minute why, but essentially there just isn't enough price discovery yet. And it's just, there's too much volatility in the first 5 minutes. You just never know what's going to happen. So I usually wait at least 15, even better 30 minutes to enter. So now you want to wait, if you want to go short, you want to wait for it to either confirm below $29.60, close below it, or start to reject $30, maybe a couple more times, and then show some obvious weakness that this is going to fade lower for the rest of the day. And we got this close above VWAP. So the next 5-minute candle, we get a close above VWAP, which is showing strength. Now, when a stock gaps down and there isn't immediate selling pressure and there seems to be some strength buying the stock back up, then you want to be wary taking a short, because it might be, that might just tell us it's actually overextended to the downside. So we got this close above VWAP that basically cuts out the short opportunity that I was looking at. Now I'm actually thinking I might go long if this can hold above $30 and then push back up higher. It couldn't push back lower, there was enough selling pressure, so I might just retrace and start to try to make a gap fill. With this doji, now we kind of have two options. If this starts to push back below 30, then you either can get short at kind of a small size and see how that plays out and add on later, and your stop is above the high here, but actually never goes below 30. It just continues to push up higher. This is a very strong close, and this doesn't really give an opportunity to enter, because you can't really get long over this high right here. That would just be too risky, and having a stop below this candle just wouldn't give it enough room. With this kind of close, now you're basically waiting either for it to pull back and consolidate over $30.20, because now we have room up to 32. I'm gonna go to the daily chart real quick. Yeah, so the $32 level, you can see it basically, it gapped up here, held 32, pushed back, after it pushed up here, came down, held 32, broke back below, and then it gapped up to 32.60, pushed down to 32, rejected it, and then moved up to 35. So $32 level has just always been significant. So we're gonna go back to the 5-minute chart here. I was looking to get a long here, like I said earlier, but there was just no entry point. You can see there's just so many green candles, there's no pullback, there's no safe way to enter, because your stop would be basically down here, and then your target would be $32 at the maximum. So the risk reward just isn't in your favor. So I was looking for the short, because this got so extended. At some point it was probably gonna turn back around. I was looking to get a short maybe through here, through here, and I just didn't because it never showed obvious weakness, and you want to look for some obvious signal that's going to go short, which is coming up. But as I said earlier, I actually fell asleep because again, my body clock was so off, and I woke up at like 6 a.m. like really early today for whatever reason, and I couldn't sleep during the day because I was busy, and excuses, but essentially I couldn't keep my eyes open. I was like straining to keep watching Skechers because I knew this was like an opportunity that could happen, and I basically just passed out, to be completely honest. So, but it did. Let's look at what happened here. So basically, $32 got up here, starts to show weakness. This is the first red candle after this big move up, and then you're going to get another rejection of $32.50. It's also a half dollar mark here that can act as resistance, is $half. And you got 2 rejections of $32.50. You got to get in a small position. I mean, it looks too good not to, right? So basically, you get into a small position here, and you see, okay, is this going to hold the $32 level, or is that going to fail, and is this going to fall back down to $31, which is where the view up is right now? And then you get confirmation. It closes below $32, and that's where you can add size to your position, and then just manage it on the way down. And you can see it fades all the way back down, close, not quite to 31, down to 31.15 or so, because the view up actually moved up. And anyway, you would want to be taking off a majority of your position here at the view up. So that was basically the trade on Skechers that I missed. And I'm going to go over a couple other stocks that I was looking at and why I didn't trade them, and then we're going to conclude. MBIO had a huge gap up, $2.60. all the way up to $8. That's about a 200% gain. And I don't actually like to trade these cheaper stocks, but sometimes they offer some really good technical setups. I do look for more, I don't like to scalp them. I look for more like a macro setup. You could call it maybe like a 5-minute pullback, or some obvious consolidation before a move up higher, or some obvious weakness after a huge extension. Let's say this like pushes up all the way to $16, right? And then there's kind of like what you see on Skechers, there's like a double rejection, a triple rejection, then I might look for a short. But anyway, it did not do that. It just sold off and didn't give it a space to enter. STNE was also on watch. You can see here a big gap down, but again, just no clear price action. Sell candle that got bought all the way back up off this resistance right here. Sorry, it's this support right here. And then it starts to kind of, do some weird price action here. You don't really know what's going to happen. It does actually look weaker. Looks on the weaker side, but it's not. It wasn't as clear as Skechers. The thing about Skechers is that it's a stock that I've day traded a lot in the past, so I'm familiar with it. And every time it has earnings or it has news, it usually provides some pretty good price action. And I was just more focused on Skechers too. This price action is not very clear. It does definitely look more short buys after this sell candle. It also gapped down, so it's just weak from that. And yeah, it's just, again, there's support right here. So it's just risky to take this short. Obviously it would have worked, but if there's no clear opportunity, I don't take it. So CGC, so choppy. Look at this first candle, it's absolutely crazy. We've got way too many studies on here. But you can see just crazy candle in the beginning, and you could think about getting long because it holds 45.50s right here pretty well. But then you got this first candle right here, so obviously there's like a lot of sellers up here too. So just, again, not very clear opportunity here. All right, so yeah, Skechers was pretty much the only opportunity I saw for today, the only stock that had kind of clear price action. But other than that, there wasn't really anything else. So that wraps it up for today. I'm gonna try really hard not to be sleeping on the job next time, and I try to get my body clock adjusted to this 15-hour time difference I've shocked myself in. So other than that, let's go up together. Let's keep it surreal. I'll see you next time.